Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. Oh my gosh. We're happening. It's happening. My friends, the gang, you're so good. You're so awesome. You're the best. You're hanging out, getting it warmed up, getting it going. But we're gonna do that together now. We're gonna get it going. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can anyone name this tune? Can anyone name this tasty tune? Furthermore, can anyone name this tasty tune and what key we're in here? You know what I mean? Guitar friends, we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about triads. We're going to rock about triads. The tiny guitar, what is it? What could it mean? What could it be all about? Coming up in a little bit on Guitar Workout of the Day, Saturday edition, Saturday live stream. Guitar friends, here. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Here we go, gang. We're going live on the Instagram. D. Rouse knows what's up. The D. Rouse knows for sure what is up. DW, good to see you. Checking out my friends over here on the Instagram. Checking out my good friends here on the YouTubes. How we doing? All right, so what I'm diddling and daddling around with here. Stems. Moises. Oi! Moises led the people to the stems. Right? Right? Turning up my levels just right. So we mostly got just drums, bass, some awesome late 80s, early 90s synth, E minor. Get your E minor pentatonics out. Smoke them if you got them. I challenge you to get into your E minor pentatonic diagonal style. And I'm looking at my friends here. I'm scrolling through here. We got some of our regulars. We got Ozzy right off the top, getting ready over there on the late side of things over there in the UK. John, brother John here, waiting faithfully. Oh, 13-year-old German Shepherd. Oh, love it. My pups are right up in that register too. 13, 14, 15. You know, you never really know with the rescues. Anyway, where were we? So glad y'all are here. So what I'm scribbling here, just, you know, what about these, you know? Right? We got these. If you got a little bit of grit on your tone, all the better. It's looping live on the web browser, so sometimes biffs up and it doesn't sound too crisp, but you get the idea. How about that? How about that shape? This is a perfect spot right here to be playing this lick right here. So we're just looping the verse here, right? Jim Master, Galen Maynard, Michael B, Jeff Blaylock, Jim Blizzard, Rick, how you doing? Mr. Chat Moon, hey, I'm glad you're here. If you're a friend of the family, come on in. If you're just seeing us for the first time, come on in and rock along. We got Kent, we got Dave, we got Jeff, we got the Nightbot, we got Ken, we got Steve. All right, so check out this shape right here. then it goes to the A7. All right, more on that in a bit. That was just sort of a nice way to warm our way into the mood. But I might be dabbling with a bit more of those kind of ideas, some moises of those ideas. It's intriguing to be able to essentially, get a little crazy and rebellious with it and get into the stems, as we call them. The stems being just like the layers underneath the drums, the bass, the guitar. And it's interesting to see what AI can do for us, and ask not what you can do for AI. Tell AI what to do. It's our only chance. We'll remember these days fondly when we had the edge, right? Let's do a proper warm-up. Grab your guitar if you don't have it. If you're watching me on the Instagram, comment the word starter, and that would be fantastic. And you're going to just get an amazing bit of information about joining the starter plan. So, you'll be seeing this. That's that starter plan. We still got it open for a little bit. We got some incredible people coming in there, joining us. It's an actual proper free tier. No payment information required. So if you're digging this style, on Saturdays we do what's sort of like an open gym. We just kind of jam and work out, play some trivia and stuff like that. But on weeknights, we do like a condensed version, like a 15, 20-minute version of the workouts, the GWODs, as we call them. For a little while, I was in the CrossFit world, like the, and then they do these things called workouts of the day, called WODs. You don't put the T in there, it's just WODs. So we do GWODs. And just about every day of the week, we go live together, and you can just be like what you are right now, just in the comments, rocking along, saying, hey, what's going on, everybody? And we go through some exercises. We're going to do that exactly right now on this little progress bar. So it sort of keeps us on track, keeps the yapping down for my part. Let's warm up with just like root name recall. It's what it sounds like. I'm going to give you some information. Find the spot on the neck. We can never get enough of this, but we don't really quiz ourselves when we're on our own, do we? So let's get it going, gang. All right, 6th string, 2nd fret. Say it and play it. What do you got? F sharp. Okay, 6th string, 5th fret. Say it, play it. A. Find me another A on the guitar. Open A string. Sorry, I'm sometimes out of tune. That's just life. Humidity. Tennessee. Okay, 5th string, 3rd fret. Say it, play it. C. Okay, find me a D on the 6th string. D on the 6th string. 10th fret. By the way, you're only going to find one. Between the 1st fret and the 12th fret, you're going to find one per letter, right? There's not going to be 2 B's or 2 D's that are living right here in the main part of the full octave. It seems obvious, but sometimes we get overwhelmed. We think it could be anywhere. It couldn't. It could only be a few spots, right? So make sure you've got it on the 5th string and the 6th string. Let's go further. C sharp on the 5th string, 4th fret, 1st fret, 6th string, F. Okay. 1st fret, 1st string, F, because the 1st string and the 6th string are the same, just 2 octaves apart, same letter names. B flat, anywhere you got it. Find me a B flat. Option anxiety. How about the 1st fret of the 6th string? How about the 6th fret of the 6th string? How about the 6th fret of the 1st string? By the way, this is the 1st string. That's how we number them. 1st string is the high string. It's the high E string. That's how I do it. I try to minimize the usage of letters because the letters get a little more confusing to my ears, at least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6th string, 11th fret. What note is that? E flat or D sharp. How about a D flat on the 5th string? We've already hit it. We just named it something different. All right, that's the 4th fret. How about the 5th fret on the 5th string? Now we're going to add major or minor. So if I say major or minor, play a major or minor bar chord. Okay, so give me a C major bar chord. Based on the 6th string would be 8th fret. Based on the 5th string would be 3rd fret. You got to have a couple. You got to use them both. Okay, how about a F sharp minor 6th string? That's going to be the 2nd fret. And then up on the 5th string, 9th fret. How about a regular just F major? Just 1 fret lower than the F sharp. Right there, that's that 8th fret. down on the 1st fret. Now guess what? Right there, that F, if we play just the first 3 strings, 1, 2, 3, that's a triad, and the root is right there on the 1st string. That's gonna spill us right into our workout portion here. Let's get these triads systematized so that they're not just feeling like there's always one that we're missing. If you're on one set of strings, so in this case, the string set is strings 1, 2, and 3, right? That's that F triad there. So picture the full F bar chord, and then we're just gonna play the first 3 strings. My members know we go through this a lot. You gotta have this so it's a non-event. It's okay, your brain can just grab it, right? So the first 3 strings of that full bar chord is the triad, but you notice how I'm holding it differently. I'm not just holding the full bar chord, because triads are gonna want to move differently, and there's gonna be more nimble movement when you have these specific sort of grips that just grab a piece of it. But to see it, initially, it's really helpful to have that idea of like, you've got the full bar chord, and you're just grabbing a chunk of it, right? So that's that F major. Okay, how about G major? Okay, all I have to do then is see that full G bar chord, grab the top 3 strings. If you can skip the step of going to the full bar chord, even better. You can just go up to that G. Remember, we got our root name recall going on. Go to the G and then build that same shape. So you can start to use that knowledge of the 1st string and say, okay, if I'm on the 1st string, I find the root, I know that a major triad looks like that. Because how did we learn these bar chords? We learned them by finding the root and then building a shape. This same idea. So finding the root, building a shape. That's that major triad right there, where the root is on top. That's on the 1st string. Okay, you get the idea. So to make this G major a G minor, let's picture the full G major bar chord. If we go G minor, we just lower that 3rd string by 1 fret. Now, same thing. We grab the first 3 strings. It's going to look like that. So that difference right there between major and minor is just 1 note, because the 3rd goes from a major 3rd down to a minor 3rd. You get it. Okay, A minor, play the triad right there. It's going to be looking like that. So your major and minor are just going to be 2 different possible shapes, right? It's going to be all dots on 1 fret, or it's going to look like that. Little top part of that bar chord. Okay, so let's just keep going with that idea. Play me a C minor triad. Find the C and then use that minor triad shape. Okay, find me a C major triad. Oh, find the C and now build the major shape. You have a recipe, stick to it. Don't flood your brain with other possibilities for right now. Just have a way to get there, because when you're in the middle of a song, you don't have time to pontificate. You need to find the actual shape that gets you where you're going in the moment. Okay, so D minor, find the D, find the minor. F sharp major, find the F sharp, 1st string, build the major. So even though it's a fancier sounding, F sharp, don't let that make you panic, because you know that the shape is either going to be that or that in this case, right? So you've got minimal things that you need to worry about. You just need to be able to find the note, breathe, and then build the shape. So G sharp major would be G sharp. It's 1 above G, or you can think of it as A flat, whatever gets you there, and then major. Okay, G sharp minor. Okay, G major, G minor, F major, F minor, A major. We're going fast, it's all right. For my people that are like, I get it, give me more, coach, that's what I'm doing. All right, next triad. We're straight into this triads workout. Look at us go. Before you know it, you warmed up and now you're doing more. I'm giving a lot of vibrato because this guitar is, I know, I keep saying the intonation needs help. So I'm just giving it that wobble sauce, maybe. So that's a D right there. That's that triangle. Here's what I want you to start to associate with this shape, is that think of triangle as like a 3-sided, tri. It's got that, the prefix for 3 in it. You've got the major 3rd on the top of this. So in this shape, let's say we're on G, this shape that we just did, the root lives on the 1st string. I want you to now associate this triangle as having the major 3rd that lives on the 1st string. That is going to be important. File that away. So it's a triad, it's a triangle, and it's got the 3rd, the major 3rd that lives on the top of it. So these triads, they have certain sounds, they have certain roles. They're not all just the same to each other. We're going to get into something fun today where we limit our scope and we really zero in on these so that we don't always feel like, I don't know, did I get them? Am I missing some? On this string set, there's only 3 possible shapes. It's this shape for the major, let's say. There's this shape with the 3rd on top. And then there's this shape with the 5th on top. So if I was just playing a G triad, I'm going to use the dots here. So let's take G. You've got G right there. You've got G right there. And you've got G right there. It's time. You're ready, my guitar friends. You're ready to know all 3 of these and not sweat bullets when the idea comes up. You've got them. So bum, 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 it's spelling root, 3rd, 5th. So a triad is root, 3rd, 5th. And now we're spelling that melody on the top line there. So this is how we find this one. The root looks like that little piece of the bar chord. This one, we find that major 3rd. We can locate it by using that 2nd string to find that. We got to learn our root names there on the 2nd string. Right? So you've got root, 3rd, and 5th. This is the one that looks like it comes out of that bar chord. All these things are connected. All right, guitar friends, I'm going to give you some quizzes now. We're going to play along. Let's bring in a drum beat. How we all doing, by the way? We sort of jumped in fast and furious. Thanks for your patience. It was a busy morning here in Nashville. It is soupy and swampy out there. It's pretty intense. Get this nice steady rock beat going. Get a nice little bass line going. Very nice, slow and steady progression that hangs on each chord for a good long while. Goes from G and now it's on C. Stays on C. And all I want you to do is think about major triads that live on the first 3 strings. Coming back to the top, here we go, G. There's that root. Now I gotta find C. Find that root of the C. There's the D. Multiple dots on each fret to show you that all those blue dots are where the C triads live. And you notice there's only 3 possible shapes, right? Oh, the fans are loving the triads today, gang. So this is like in the Matrix where at first when you see all the crazy green symbols on the screen, you're like, what? But then you gotta just relax your eyes. Relax your eyes, you can do this. G triads are in pink. I love my handwriting. I am proud of it. D triads are in Lello. Oh, sorry for my people on Instagram. I didn't get the spacing right. I got to draw another G here for my Instagram people. Sorry. Okay, now they can see it. That's why there's 2 G's for my YouTube people. Okay, I'm checking the chat here. Keep jamming along with this. We're gonna just, take our easy, sweet time with this. I like that you guys were quizzing yourselves earlier. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Keeping things rolling. That song, by the way, is Pretending by Clapton. We're going to get into Pretending. It's a good example of major and minor blues, and also modulating. When the chorus hits, it goes to A major. It's crazy. Yeah, let me double check. I very likely could have screwed something up, and it was merely a test. Let's see. Oh yeah. Good eye. That's a nice little way to do it. A chime fill. So G. Now C. Now D. G. What do you think about that, guitar friends? Is that helping? You never know how people learn and how they like to process their information, whether they want to see all the dots, see all the possibilities. Sometimes I'm that way when I want the overview of everything, to be like, just give me the map of the whole city, then I'll decide. I'll just spend my whole time there at the park, smoking cigarettes and drinking espresso and looking at the world going by when I am Paris. Or not, maybe I want to go visit all the things, go to Champs-Élysées and see the flying buttresses of, the Notre Dame Cathedral and talk like this until I am ushered out of the country. Sorry, that's the celery juice talking. And I tell you what, celery juice does talk. Sometimes in a soft whisper. Sometimes it screams and it grabs you by the throat and says, you need to be somewhere right now. You need to go attend to something right now. But I think we're okay. I think we're stable for the next 40 minutes or so. But I tell you what, if you need a good recalibration of your innards, celery juice has you for the win. It's really good though. Anyway, furthermore, checking out the comments here. Yeah, and so here's what we're doing. And this was I have no idea how this is going to work or if it's going to work, but I'm excited. It was a thought that I had as I was drowsily waking up this morning, not quite awake. Here is an ukulele. You might say ukulele, you might say uke, that's fine. But the uke has this amazing, beautiful, charming sound, right? Let me know in the comments if you've ever played the uke, if you've spent time on it. Do you play it often? Sometimes people are like, you know what? I play it all the time. I play it more than guitar. That's actually like what I started on. And if you have, can you tell us a little something about the chord shapes that you've studied and learned? Because let me see if I can maybe do this on the fly. I forgot about this. Whoa, we got wolfhounds moving. If you're one of my members, and many of you are here, head over to this. If you haven't seen it already, go to this video that we're watching right now, the live stream within Guitar Workout of the Day. Within that section, I had dropped a JPEG in there that has this, just a bunch of ukulele chords. It's just a chart, right? I'm wondering if I can see maybe. Oh yeah. Oh, that's true right there. That's not true. That's the dare to share. Maybe we can pop it in there. Maybe I can swap out this for this little graphic here. Perhaps. There we go. Great. Check out these chords. I'll try to make them as big as I can. In fact, I'll just sort of like, we don't need some of those ones on the bottom. I'll be looking at it here on my side of the screen over here. All right, so why does this matter? Why do you think it does? It's because these basically limit everything down to just 4 strings, right? That's what the ukulele is so good at, so known for. Do any of you know what the recipe would be to make a guitar match the same register of a ukulele? I'm going to see if I can add this over here on Instagram as well. That would be helpful, would it not? So yeah, if you've got a notion of how you would recreate the basic tuning of a ukulele and the top 4 strings, but on a guitar, there's a way to do it, and we're going to get into it today, guitar friends. And it's going to be kind of cool, and it's going to be kind of freaky. Okay, now I've got this crazy ukulele chart showing up on the Instagram, and I'll sort of try to do my best to turn it on and off, depending on the situation. Because this is like probably the best way that I can think of to zero things down and just focus on, you know, the top 4 strings, right? Triads, right? All right, I'm checking the chat here. Capo on the 5th, 4th string up, an octave, right? So let's build that. That's what we're gonna do right now. I'm gonna turn off the graphic there for a second. We'll go 5th fret, and here's what I'm gonna do. So we won't worry about tuning this 4th string up an octave, because since it's an octave, it'll be the same note at least, right? And then I'm literally, all right then, go on. Gonna put tape on the 5th and the 6th string. I can't even touch it. Couldn't even play it if I tried, right? They're just like, they're both muted. So I've just got, my dog has fleas, right? So check it out. Let's play some of these ukulele chords. I'll put the chart back up there. Do you have a capo? Let me know if you have a capo, and if you can put it on your guitar, and maybe you don't have the tape ready to go like me, but this is just to demonstrate exactly what we're talking about here. So right there, we could read these ukulele chords and they would actually match exactly what they say. So when it says a C, I would play that first chord right there is just showing open, 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 and then the 3rd fret. That's great. That's a C chord. And now if I just look at, if I take away that fretted note and I just play the notes that are below it, that kind of makes sense. That's going to be those three dots there, those 3 notes that create a major chord. So let's look at some of these and play them that we recognize right away just from what we were just doing that were like triads. Again, I don't know if this will like work, but if you have a ukulele, I would recommend spending time playing just that for a while to basically limit it down to being like these little triad shapes. So like, let's see the G. It looks like a D shape, right? It looks like that triangle. But up here, so we're playing like, you know, the capo on the 5th fret. So it'd be 2 frets above that. That's going to be a G even when you take the capo off. Like that's going to be that one that we were playing earlier. And then the A, let's see. Oh, that makes sense. It kind of looks like as if we were holding that full A bar chord that looks like the E shape. So the world of the ukulele is like truly the world of triads, or triads on top of each other, meaning like there's strings 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. Here's B. So I'm looking at the far top right of the chart, the B major. It looks exactly like that classic, you know, the F chord, as I joked about this week. It's like the beginner F chord, the quote unquote open F chord, is not open at all and not fun, and it hurts. But it's useful. especially once we learn bar chords, we realize it's just a piece. It's just the top piece. So that, look at that shape on the top right of the chart that says B major, right? Like, I'm guessing you see that right now, and you see that as if it were a guitar chord, right? Right? That shape is like now part of your visual vernacular. But maybe we just always get a little bit like we're drowning in the details, and we see like, oh, we see the full bar chord, and then we see the full scale around it, and we get a little nervous. But if we only had 4 strings to work with, right there, it's just like, oh, 1, 2, 3, there's a triad, so that's a root, third, fifth. So what I'm playing there is boom, boom, boom. Just playing from the low string, in this case the 4th string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, and that's root, 3rd, 5th. So maybe, I guess, what I wanted to bring to your attention is that learn your triad shapes, practice them well, practice them hard so that you understand, like, you've got all 3 of the ones per string set, right? But what if you were to just play a bunch of ukulele chords? Because look at all the versatility you can find here when they get into the 7 chords. So like, that's sort of like that Hawaiian turnaround. If you don't listen to Hawaiian music, you need to. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Okay, so somebody give me in the chat, I'm looking over here at Instagram as well, somebody give me in the chat just a chord progression based on what you see here. Let's look at this chart. I think I'm showing the chart on both Instagram and YouTube now. And I know you can't see my hands. Sorry about that. Trying to make the real estate work on the screen. If you want this chart, it's just one that I pulled off the internet randomly. So I can't, there's a couple spots where I think that I have the chords on the wrong spot. Like if you look at the B minor and the B minor 7, they need to be swapped. But I think for the most part, it's getting it correct. But look at these shapes and mess with them, because guess what? If you were to play with your guitar like this on the capo and just sort of learn these shapes, you'd be picking up some really interesting possibilities for minor 7s and for dominant 7s. And then maybe we would start to kind of evolve past the idea of just thinking triads are just, 1, 3, 5, and that's good and that's valuable. That's what I want you to learn and work on. But then if you just have really cool little shapes for a 7 chord. So right there, play that C7. That's the second row and the second one down. Well, yeah, second row, first one. So that's a C7. And then that exact same shape, 2 frets higher, is a D7. So then imagine if you took the capo away, you'd still be able to play that D7. It's a little fragment there of that full bar chord, right? So this could be good training to limit yourself. Play a bunch of songs using the ukulele chart. Okay, so we got C, B minor, D, and G. I see a couple of 1, 6, 4, 5, and A. All right, yeah, using the chord numbers. I like that. So let's just sort of grab from the chart here and just see. Yeah, we'll put a few together. So the C, let's grab this first C major right there. B minor, they've got it kind of written a little bit silly, but so the one that's all the notes across would actually be B minor 7. The one that has the note higher is B minor. So we've got C, B minor, and then D, and then a G. It's nice, right? So C, the tape's coming off. Oh no. C, B minor, D, G. All right, I'm going to take away the visual for a second. Here is what I think you might get out of this, is that by just kind of living in this sandbox for a while, it seems as obvious as it is, being like, well, why do I need the tape? You don't need the tape or the capo. But if you don't have a ukulele, this is a great way to like truly make sure that you don't get distracted because we always bite off more than we can chew. As soon as we start doing this, we start thinking, oh, well, maybe what I'll do is that I'll learn all the possible triads in this shape. I'll learn them all for this shape. And then I'll just spend a day on that. And it never really starts to mingle with the other chords that would make it sound like music and frankly make it more fun. So if you just noodled with these charts, knowing that as you're playing them, you're naming the correct names. You've got the capo there, but if you were to just sort of double check your work. So let's say we have the C, and here the capo's doing the job of holding down those notes. The C, and then I did the B minor, and then I did the D, and then the G. It's like, could I do that without the capo? I'd be like, okay, well, yeah, I could. That's not that bad. There's a C to a B minor, okay, and then okay, there's the D. Yeah, I missed it, but there's D. Right? The ukulele would have just shown you how to play the big guitar. Score one for the tiny guitar. What do we think about this, gang? I'm going to put a surfer emoji in the chat because I like it. And, sometimes you wake up and you're like, maybe I have an idea for the stream today. And then maybe you do. And maybe you just got to follow your heart. I like how the emojis, well, maybe I'm not sure if I like. The emojis are different in YouTube land because the surfer emoji in the Apple land looks a little more like distinct. He's taken off on a big old wave. Speaking of which, Kent, if you're still there, Kent, I saw your new profile picture in the members area. You're dropping in and carving it. You're dropping in on a nice wave there, bro. Looking good, surfing. Is anyone out there, here, there, and everywhere, surfers? Have you surfed ever? When was the last time you surfed? Where did you surf? I am not a good surfer. I grew up in Hawaii, but I say with humble respect for all of my friends who are fantastic surfers, like legit, I'm not them. I love body surfing. I love being in the water, but I'm the guy who looks like he's in trouble. I'm having a blast. I'm basically like a golden retriever going over the falls, or like it looks like a free dummy, crash test dummy or something. I love being out in the water, but I don't really like especially once I left Hawaii and everything was wetsuits. I was like, I don't want to wear a spongy wetsuit everywhere. I just want to like get in and just get thrown around, enjoy the sort of chaos of it. I know how to wipe out without getting hurt, knock on wood, but yeah, surfing the net, bro. I love when people would say surf the net. Yeah, I've got my Photoshop 2.0 and I'm surfing the net, bro. I'm going to hyperlink you that document and you're going to get exactly what you need. Let's go. AOL.com. Get the 30 hours for free. Plug in that CD-ROM and dial it up. Let's go. Snowboarding, that makes sense. Jim Blizzard, that all makes sense. I like it. Legato. We got someone asking for legato on Instagram. I love it. Can somebody, let's sort of get like, let's field some questions and jump into some other things. When it comes to, let's say, legato versus staccato, could somebody describe in words the difference between legato versus staccato? Legato, staccato. Because we probably know it, but there's something magical when you have to articulate and write it out. It's the same reason why what we're about to get into next is when you have to write down the chords, even when you know them, when you write them down in front of you, something different happens. When you verbalize it, when you put it into writing, and then you see it, it takes that off of your mind and it helps you kind of process your game plan for a chord progression. So we'll do something like that because I want you to feel more and more confident that when you see a song, when you see a section of a song, when you break it down and look at what's going on with the harmony, that you have some starting points instead of just, I think a lot of times we get stuck into like, can I play the chords? Okay, I can play the chords. I can play the shapes of the chords. I can play bar chords. Great. Then the very next question we ask is like, what do I play over this? Or what's the scale that goes with this? And that is sort of a misguided question because while it's true, sometimes there's going to be progressions that really sound great when you play just the same scale throughout the whole chord progression. We all know that feeling when, when we're going along, oh, celery juice. I didn't expect you to get me up here. It's usually much more down there. Anyway, I'm getting choked up. Oh, but we hit that moment where we're like, this chord sounds good. This chord sounds good. What's going on here? I feel a little bit element. I hope I don't play a wrong note on that chord. And then we're back to the chords that sound good. And if you had in front of you, which I'm going to show you how to do it now, just a simple map of the chord chart. Even if you have the chords in front of you on screen, the difference when you write it down is that you're then with pen in hand or Apple Pen in hand or whatever, able to make a note to yourself to be like, okay, I'm gonna play a major pentatonic here. For this one, I don't know what's going on particularly, so I think I can just start by playing the chord or a triad, playing chord tones. And then I'll go back to playing the scale that I've been using, or maybe there's something else. When you get that, you don't have to micromanage every single chord, and you also don't feel like you're just in kind of like set it and forget it mode, which can leave you vulnerable to feeling a little bit like you're saying the same thing over and over again. There's some way sort of halfway in between that where you just get a bit of a game plan. You just have your sort of moment, your pre-flight checklist, as I say, and your sort of like chalkboard, as we would say, in high school when I played water polo, it was like we'd have chalk talk, and you'd have, just go to the little drawing board, right? That type of thing we're going to get into. So let's build a progression. Let's grab a different drum loop. I'm looking at the chat as I do this. Does anybody have a new guitar or a new guitar-related piece of equipment that they're really thrilled about that is inspiring new creativity? I got to spend some more time. I love these loops, but I do need to spend a little more time diving into them and finding some even fresher ones. Is this? Chow, chow. Let's do ooh. That might screw up my... Ooh. Good. Might be a little bit tiring on our ears. Funky. Hey. Yeah, let's do this laid back one. All right. Put that right there. Yeah, you got to get the painter's tape. Don't go putting Gorilla tape or anything like that on your guitar. Yeah, we always need more cowbell. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, the juice is loose. Telling me France. You gotta find your capo. Here's the thing with capos. I learned long ago, you giveth and taketh capos at gigs. Like, you lose one, leave a penny, take a penny. There's been so many gigs where I've left one on the mic stand. Like, you need it for one song, you put it there. It's like, I'll never forget it there because it's right in front of me. It's the first thing you forget when you leave. And then there's been other gigs where I'll get up to play and there's someone's capo there and they're long gone. And so you tend to put them everywhere you might potentially lose them. So put them in like the sides of your gig bag and in the guitar case itself. The sort of like emergency parachute approach to capos is good. You'll be glad you did. Because even right now, I'm literally using one capo. I don't know if you know this, I'm always using a capo as a clip to hold the headphones in place. And then I got another one here that goes nowhere near my butt. Anyway. So let's get a chord progression going. And we were kind of doing something like this in our Zoom hang yesterday, where it's mostly in one key and then we go somewhere else and you got to be ready to switch gears when you hit that. So let's do that. Let me kind of vaguely attempt to tune up again. By the way, if you're just joining us and you're intrigued and you're not bored, you should check out the starter plan. The starter plan is an actual proper free tier that I just opened up, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago. And there's been a good wave of people that have come in. You get 2 live workouts a week. So we go live Monday through Thursday with a fresh workout. There's a theme of the week, a topic of the week. So you build on all those ideas. And that's for my pro members. But if you want to just dip a toe and see what it's all about, the starter plan lets you join us on Monday and Thursday. And then Friday, we have another workout that is built into the Zoom hang, where we just get to see each other, ask me anything, share some of what you're working on. Then I can really see what's going on with your playing. If you have a specific question, that's great. Check out those details on Instagram. Just send the word, just message the word, whatever, comment the word starter, and you'll get the details. It's pretty great, pretty great, pretty great. Looking at the comments there. Anyway, all right. So we'll do E, A, and then we'll do D, G. Maybe we'll do D7. We'll do that. That's my signature move. All right, what's your strategy? I went to Noodlesburg and I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. We got ourselves a progression here. I'm actually going to use this chord chart. Sorry if that's getting in the way on Instagram as far as covering my fingers. We got an E, we got an A, we got a D7, and we've got a C sharp minor. Can somebody in the chat, here, there, and everywhere, tell me what would be the corresponding numbers? What would be the chord numbers for this progression? If we're in the key, well, tell me what key we're in. The home key, right? So your home key is going to be sort of where you first go to be like, all right, I could probably get away most of the time playing notes from this scale. So the E I'm playing is just a regular E, a regular open E. Classic cowboy chord. Cowboy. I don't let that word diminish the power of these chords. They're the ones. They're the open ones. Open-hearted, you know? Anyway, I'm playing this as an A with the open top two strings. So that gives me an E, which is the fifth, and then the B is a 9. So you could call that an A add 9. Not an A9, like when it's just A9, that means it's a dominant 7 chord with the 9 added to it. But since this is just root, fifth, root, major third, there's no flat 7. So that is just built off of a major chord that has a 9 added, like here's some sprinkles on top, in case you're wondering. Then the D7, that's just like a good old-fashioned bar chord there. Make sure that says 5. That's showing everywhere. Okay. And then this one will be also based on the 5th string, or based on the 5th fret, and it's on the 5th string. Classic. This one will do the 4th fret right there. And this one I was actually playing a minor 7. So these are good things to review and make sure you got. Those are the basic chord shapes. So, key of, oh, we're saying key of A. Ah, so help me understand why one might think key of A. Don't worry, my tone may have shifted. I would love to hear genuinely how you would approach seeing this in the key of A. So you would see it, the key of A. You'd see this as a 5 chord, and then you see that as the 1, and then you see this as the 4 chord, and then that as the 3. This is interesting, right? Let's try it. I honestly don't know if you've got an A major scale. Let's just try it. And see if we can play our way through all those changes. It could actually work pretty good. So if I go into this is good, because what we're touching into is essentially how modes work, and I'm going to try to navigate talking about this without throwing us into the deep end, because the reason that for myself, I came up with this little just random riff thinking in terms of E, is because when we go to that D7, I'm seeing it more as a borrowed sort of outlier, like that's the exception to the rule, rather than it being a built-in part of the harmony. So to my ears, one way to look at this would be, we're in E, we've got the 1 chord, we've got E, the 1 chord, we've got A, the 4 chord. Oh, come on, Apple Pencil. We've got D, and this would be kind of like a flat 7. If you want to try to write it in terms of Roman numerals, it'd be a major flat 7. So it's kind of like, if E is right there on the 7th fret, 5th string, the root note D would be a whole step below, so that's a flat 7. That's why in terms of numbering, you might say, oh, it's a flat 7, like it's a major flat 7, just in terms of notating it from the scale degree. Then the C sharp would be back in the home key of E as the 6, right? That'd be the minor 6 chord. And the only reason why is so to get to the idea of talking about the strategy that I would have going into the soloing. Yeah, so essentially when we hit that D7 chord, to me that's an opportunity to bring in the notes from the from that A major 7, because that brings us into that kind of. So let's see if we can. So if I'm spelling out like the E major here. So a lot of times what happens, I'm just speaking from my own experience. This is like sounding like I'm kind of generalizing, because what I'm teaching you, none of this stuff is directly textbook. And even the stuff in the textbook is one way of being like ultra thorough. So if you wanted an ultra thorough explanation of modes, which I don't think anyone's asking for, it would require getting a ton of information, processing it, using it, and integrating it, which is like, it's valuable. But that is exactly why music schools and textbooks exist. So if what I get into seems a little bit vague, it's because I'm a little more like a feral animal that's out there playing and using this stuff, which I'm not trying. I'm saying all this to make sure you don't think that I'm just trying to diss the idea of like, oh, you don't need that like school book learning. What I'm trying to say is like, there's going to be flaws or ways in which I have just sort of a shorthand way of thinking of this, because it's been a while since I've tried to map out the idea of all the modes. And that should tell you something, is what I'm saying, is that, oh, I actually don't need that. I don't run into that for my style of playing. And so what I'll give you is sort of the way I view this. If I were to hear this, if I were to hear this progression going by, I would hear it just from experience. I'd be like, that sort of sounds like that was the one. Okay? That feels like it was sort of a curveball. So it just to my ears feels like if I wanted to mostly play noodles that work with that, I'd be thinking, I would kind of test it. I'd be like, oh, okay. I'd go to my sort of like go-to, which would be sort of a major pentatonic, and I would try E first. So to me, that sort of mostly hits that sound of like, oh, that seems like that's where the melody of this progression would be like. And then it feels like this is a moment. It's a momentary borrowed chord or a secondary dominant. It's a sort of like, it's a splash of color that's like the. And yes, in fact, when I go there, I am grabbing notes from the Mixolydian. So that would be, as we're getting to, sorry for the delay of that, but that would be a Mixolydian. And, or this is where I get even confused with myself, or would we call that E Mixolydian? Maybe, I guess it's the A major scale. That's what it would be. It's the A major scale, but when we're starting from the E, it gives us E Mixolydian. And all I know from, repeated usage of this scale is that, oh, all I have to think about, and what I'm about to scribble here is like, Once I hit that D chord where I've had my time to sort of game plan what my strategy will be, I'll think it's time to incorporate the Mixolydian sound to this underlying E major scale. So I'll have this, like what I have right up here is that let's play it together. Let's just sort of practice this E major pentatonic. 1, 2, 3 from the top. Let's go from the bottom to the top, starting on this, the E. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then stop on that E, so we land on that root. Right, so that's my existing E major pentatonic. I'm gonna think when it comes around to that D, quite literally, I'm just gonna add the D note, which happens to be the root. Maybe I'll use the blue, it's a little bit easier to see when the green goes over it. And you guys see me do this a lot, right? I mix these in, Mixolydian these in quite a bit. Yeah, I'm just thinking about where within the shape, where else I might put that one there as well. So try that just for now. Like if we've got our chords there up on the screen, once we hit this D7, try to bring in those blue notes, okay? Start off with E major pentatonic, regular pink notes there. And then when you hit the D, bring in a real definite usage of that note. 1, 2, being the blue note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here comes the D. It moves pretty quickly, right? Get ready to use the blue notes. Then get off of it. Okay, so don't overlinger on the blue notes. I don't want to hear you over there on the other side of the screen going. It's okay to kick the tires, but then try to use it sparingly and tastefully. Keep going. Is this making sense? How we doing with that? How we doing with that? And guess what else you could bring in? What's another note that we could bring in on the A chord to add one more layer of possibility as far as, like, let's say if we wanted to play a special note to target. It's where you hear target notes and target tones out there in the web when you're surfing the net. Time Warner AOL presents Unlimited Photos Yahoo News. Somebody talk to me. What are we playing on that A? You know what I think we need? I think we need a little bit of this in our life. Oh, give it to me. You got into it. You got into it. If you didn't hear it, I'm sorry. Sorry, Instagram, but I got this video of my dog, Tony. By the way, if you're on Instagram, swing on by YouTube. Oh no, they're gonna shut me down on the algorithm for even saying that. But Guitar Friend Tim on the YouTubes is where you find that. So G sharp. G sharp would be the third. That's the third of E, which is a cool note. So that already lives right there. That's a G sharp. So that's already built into it, which is cool. That could sound nice on the A. what are the notes that live inside of A? What makes up an A major triad? These are my regulars, so I can ask them the tougher questions. How do we build an A major chord? What are the 3 notes, naming them as notes, not as numbers? What would be the notes that we need for an A major chord? Major, an A major chord. Need the full proper designation. The A and the E are correct. There we go. That C #E. So my crew, we're going to work on triads. We're going to work on knowing them and spelling them and loving them. They will be part of your musical constitution, okay? So we've got an A, a C sharp, and an E. So in this, let me just help you out with this. We've got E, C sharp. So we've got 2 of those notes already. What's the note that we don't have in this E major pentatonic? E is our home key. We've got pentatonic. Pentatonic is missing a couple teeth. It's got 5 of the 7 crayons that come with the major scale. What's one of the ones that it's missing? Sometimes also referred to as the Dickie Betts scale, which is somewhat misleading, just in the sense that it's not a scale. It's just, it's the usage of adding in schwonk, a note that is in E major. We're just putting back in the goodies that we took out with the pentatonic. Okay, so does this make sense as we look at this map? I'm not going to add any more. Well, maybe I will add one more layer as we go. So over the E, just play anything that works that you like in E. You could, by the way, you could play, like, your strategy could be like to play chords through this whole thing. You could play triads for all of them. You could spell the triads out. And that might even be cooler and nicer to the ear than any sort of soloing and noodling and sweating bullets to try to play, the tastiest leads that you ever did here. So give yourself a chance to really test out the different possibilities, and we'll get into that. So this right here is going to be our approach for right now. Over the E, play E major pentatonic. Over the A, bring in that mustard note. But you don't have long, right? Because this goes by pretty quickly. I hope you get the idea that what we're doing is we're starting to bring in the sophistication to add more of a strategy to your soloing without having it be so overwhelming to think, I've got to think of a whole new scale. Somebody said, some person on the internet said, actually over the A, you should be playing an A Locrian. And then you're just looking at a chart of that whole scale. And then you test it out and it sounds like garbage or whatever. So let's make it not sound like garbage. So if I were to just play E major pentatonic, it works. How long can you do that before you get bored of yourself? Raise your hand if you're tired of hearing yourself playing just the pentatonic that supposedly goes with the whole song. I love it as a starting point, but if you're like, yeah, I found that I know how to find the major pentatonic when it's major, and you're... And then you're like, What's next, coach? This is what's next. Learn these, know them, trust yourself. You can use them. Okay, how are we liking that? We liking the spice? Clarence, Ozzy, Kent, Jim, Dave. Oh, and Tony boy. You love it. You gotta love it. A little bit more, and then I'll set you free. These are just ideas. These are just, musings, inspirations. Let's get some of this going on. Now we're gonna take it into that Eric Clapton pretending. So guess what? We gotta have a strategy. Reload it. I'm opening Moises here. So let's listen to this. Let's see. I'll turn on the full song. I've got this, on my screen. I'm looking at this really cool. I'm not sponsored by Moises, but maybe I will be at some point. Because I was skeptical at first, but then I was like, this is really cool. It can take anything. This is maybe explaining why Rick Beato had those stems a few years ago. I think he maybe had just early access to a stem generating program such as this, or he just literally had the stems. He'd be the guy, right? Who knows the person who knows the person. So here's the full mix. I think it's going to start off. Yeah. Pretending. E minor. Funky. Of the era. Bye-bye 12 cents I was gonna make on this video. Let's hope they're not too litigious.
How many times must we tell the tale? How many times must we fall?
Love this song. I love it.
Living in a lost memory, you just recall. Working on the sound of the band, trying to get the music right. Reach their home at night.
Check this out.
That's when she said she was pretending, just like she knew the plan. That's when I knew she was pretending, pretending to understand, pretending, satisfied, lost in love.
Check it out, my friends. We got a lot going on there. We'll stop there. I've started to just go into that trance. The eyes rolling to the back of the head. And I'm like, take me there, Eric. I've seen Clapton a few times. It's been amazing. The first time I saw him was Royal Albert Hall in London. Went there by myself. I was living in London. And I was like, I just got to go see him. And he does, I don't know if he still does, but for that time, that stretch in 2016 or something, he would do like 2 weeks, kind of, I guess 24 nights. That makes sense how he did the live album, but maybe he kept that tradition going. Maybe they brought it back, whatever it was. He was like doing a residency. So I went and saw one of the nights and he opened the show with Pretending. I think he kind of does that a bit because when I saw him at Bridgestone here in Nashville a few years ago, he opened with Pretending as well. It's just a great tune. The piano player gets to start off. And it's so fun to play, as we'll get into a bit. I hope you're excited. There's no way you could be as excited as I am, but I hope you're excited. E minor. So for the verse, you're mostly, here's the thing. Let's treat it like there'll be like the intro and solo and those sections where there's no vocal. There's more freedom to treat it all as just purely E minor pentatonic. And all the fills that he's playing are E minor pentatonic and blues, right? Very much Clapton. E minor pentatonic, right? So that's gear one. Well, we'll just call it gear because if I said mode, it would confuse us all. E minor pentatonic blues. So that is exactly where you're going to want to be bringing in your like diagonal pentatonic. That's where we get like the it lives so well in that shape because you get all these things that come from the song. That's why the diagonal pentatonic will lead you towards riffs that you'll start to be more quickly able to hear and grab from songs, because that's just kind of where those slides and those pull-offs like to live, especially in classic guitar keys like E. So we've got our E minor pentatonic, and then the blues, wherever you got your box one. Get all those things sort of ready to go and warmed up. But then be ready for these moments where, let's say, once I turn off the vocal here, the melody in those verses, in the proper verses, would be like bringing in just a little bit of the major. It's like a vague impersonation of the melody there, but we've got this like, that's that Dickie Betts note, believe it or not. So this I would kind of call like the E, like major blues or mixolydian. But really what, like to the point earlier of what I was showing you, all I'm kind of focusing on, rather than thinking, oh, okay, I got to get out my textbook and think about mixolydian, the full scale, is exactly what I was showing you before. It's like, okay, I've sort of got my E right there. I can bring in that's that A note, that's that fourth degree to the major third, which is different than the. So finding where that major third and the fourth live. So wherever you are, like this is the beauty of it, wherever you like to spend your time when someone says we're playing an E blues, start to figure that out. If you like to spend a lot of time down there, that's great. Down in that blues box, like you got to be able to find it and sort of like get your power moves ready to go, so that then when this next section comes in that's a little bit more like an opportunity to play some of the sweeter sounding stuff, you can be like, okay, so here's my blues box for E down here, for example. Once I want to, and there's the E right there. Once I want to bring in like that kind of like that major third, I got to be ready and confident to test that out. And sort of, so those circle notes there, that's the fourth and the third. So it's surrounded by these bluesy moments where you've just got a little bit of the major blues sound coming through. And then check it out, when we go to the chorus, it's a total key change. It's not even, related. It is related in terms of the circle of fifths, but what I'm saying is that you need to abandon everything you've been doing for a while and be thinking just A major. And all that is, and you'd be A major pentatonic would be a great way to go, but he's actually, that fill that he's playing is like boom boom da 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 boom da 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 dum 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 dum. That's right out of A major, the actual full scale. But he's kind of, so again, it's mostly focusing on the A major pentatonic with the addition of that. That's the fourth to the major third. So if I scribble those in yellow, so this is a different key. So as I scribble these on the chart, don't think that I'm still writing this in terms of E whatsoever. I'm just showing you where these dots would be. Right there, those two dots right there, that's that of that underlying A major pentatonic, right? Give me an emoji if this is making sense. If you're hanging on, you can also give me an emoji of just like a skull and crossbones. If you're like, I hate it, I'm out of here, I'm bored. We're definitely in bonus time, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm just setting this up so I can noodle over for 5 minutes as I say goodbye. You know me. So let's see this in action. And the beauty of this thing, this crazy app, is that, among other things, I can just click on a button that says sections, and it will decide where the intros and the verses and the choruses are. And from my experience thus far, it's like pretty much always right, which is amazing. So we can take this to our advantage and just loop like the verse or the intro and kick the tires on each of these flavors, each of these gears, so that we're ready. And this is when, once you then decide to switch out of training mode and go into like, all right, I'm going to play the song, which we will do as our last thing. You got to be ready to make these switches without a bunch of test notes. You can't always make test pancakes. Sometimes the griddle is hot and you just got one batch, meaning you've got to put yourself in that position where, okay, this time through, no do-overs. If I make a mistake, I got to recover and play right through it and not just ignore the song. You gotta respect the song. I will die on that hill. So here's the intro. I think this, let's see, I'm trying to find verse, chorus. Oh, instrumental solo. It even labels that. So let's try that. I'll turn off the vocals. And since the guitar has such a funky tone, they labeled it as guitar and also other in terms of the stems. Let's see what this sounds like. See if I can zoom in on that at all. I would like to loop that much. Can I grab that and extend that? Now I click on the loop button. This might be wonky. Oh wait, I don't know if I can actually like zoom in any closer. I know you can't see what I'm seeing, but let's try to finagle this. Instrumental solo starts right there. And then I want to grab 4 more bars. There's 1 more bar, there's 2 more, 3 more, 4 more bars. Let's try this. I don't know, that's exactly on the spot. Because what I wanted to get to is that this goes, we'll do this. So you can kind of hear his vocal, and this is the verse, but this is like the same musical bed that happens during the solo. And the reason I want to do this is because it goes to the 4 chord, then it comes back to the 1. So let's play some E minor stuff here. Yeah. Trying to figure out the strategy that I can show you guys here. So with that melody, I get lost in alibis, it's like that major and minor blending. It's a very like kind of slick solo. Let's see, let's try this one. Or this intro maybe. So practice your E minor blues stuff here. Go to your favorite spots. So listen for that chord change and try to build your licks so that they develop, meaning you might have like a... Then you're getting ready to hear where the chords change. And then resolve back down. Then here's that lick. So that lick, just so you see it, is... That's E. That's where it would be there. Here's where it is up the neck. And you do not need this tabbed out. This is where your knowledge of these scales, the time you've been putting in, and your ear is the only way to learn it. Because this is how he learned it. This is how I learned it from him. Meaning you have to use your communication with listening to a master do what they do and make it sing. So that's where you actually bring the nuance of like verses, like all those little differences of how you attack it or slide into it or bend into it. That's going to be from just using your ear truly, rather than being like, okay, so it's second string, 5th fret. No, not gonna do it. You got the dancing dots too, right? Here's that lick. Great, so that's your flavor for like the solos and for most of the verse. Now I'll go to a verse and I'll turn on the vocal, but I'll leave his guitar off. Okay, so let's hear this vocal.
Satisfied, lost in love.
Pretty crazy. We can kind of separate those things, right? If I just solo the vocal, let's do that. I mean, it's not exactly perfect, but it's pretty good.
Situations change. You never used to think.
A little wonky.
How strange.
Bunch of delay and 80s stuff on it, but like pretty crazy. Pretty crazy here. All right, let's loop this. It's gonna go here.
Satisfied, lost in love. Situations change. You never used to think you are. How strange.
So try using your E major blues mixolydian right here.
Lost in love. Situations change. You never used to think you are. How strange. Satisfied.
Now let's check out this chorus, totally different animal.
That's when she said she was pretending, just like she knew the plan. When I knew
Turning
she
on the
was
guitar.
pretending to understand. That's when she said she was
So this lick.
pretending, just like she knew.
Coming straight out of A major, right? A major pentatonic with that 4th degree in there. So A, E, D. Definitely in the key of A. Let's play over that. We'll turn off the guitar. Let the vocal get there first, meaning let the vocal sing. Don't play on top of it and try to answer it with that exact lick or something else like it. Play the call and response game even when you're simulating it.
When I knew she was pretending to understand.
It's gonna loop.
That's when she said she was pretending, just like she knew the plan. When I knew she was pretending to understand. That's when.
Now here's what's fun. If I drop us in there and I let it just continue on, get ready to go from this chorus back into that E minor sound, okay? And this will be fun, I believe, if you like puppies and ice cream and jamming to the blues and the blues pop of the 80s and the 90s, then I think you're gonna like it. So I'm gonna go a little bit before the chorus, get ready to play your A major stuff, your A major pentatonic, and then as that bam bam bada bam bam, when we go back to that E, be ready with it. Don't be caught flat-footed and don't be playing an A major once we switch gears. Here comes the chorus.
That's when she said she was pretending, just like she knew the plan. When I knew she was pretending to understand.
Get ready.
Pretending.
Oh, sorry. Killed the vibe, my bad. I'm gonna let the music keep playing. Here's that verse.
Lost in love. Situations change.
A7.
Used to think you are.
How strange. Here comes the riff. Chorus.
That's what she said.
turn on Eric. Let's play along with Eric. Let's come on. Let's try to keep up with him. Short solo, right? Here comes a riff. A major pentatonic. Repeat. E minor. Then it just fades out. Oh my gosh, I haven't even been looking at the world. I've just been rocking out to my EC on a Saturday. This is where you look up and everyone's left the gymnasium and it's okay. And hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Play a nice slow jam here. Don't take us out. Any questions, any comments, any concerns? Anybody wondering how you might go about joining the starter plan? Just go to guitarworkoutoftheday.com, scroll down. There's the free 14-day trial for the pro plan for everything. That's the 5 GWODs, the guitar workouts every week. We have, at the time of this taping, almost 200 previously broadcast, recorded, ready for you to watch on demand episodes, workouts. So you could be joining those either in the past or in the future on our live broadcast. We've got full courses where I walk through songs that I compose and create like simple little exercises, takeaways, riffs that you can make your own. We have this amazing community where we do a Dare to Share challenge every single month. This month, we've got a few days left. We've got some great daring and sharing happening and collaborating. The members will play solos after people have submitted rhythm parts. They team up on stuff. It's amazing. And the winner this month, there's a winner every month, randomly drawn from the entrants. They're going to win a hat. Past winners have won shirts or free video feedback from yours truly, normally worth well over $79 or so. So it's a good time to join us. And then the starter plan, you just scroll down the page if you want to join that. You jump right in. You get 2 workouts a week. You get one of the full courses. So you get a really good bite of the apple. And you can get started with it and join us. It'd be wonderful. If you're on Instagram, just comment the word starter. Even if you see this after it aired, if you comment the word starter, my Timbot, my trusty, rusty assistant, will come to your door, digitally speaking, and get you the details you need. So I hope you take us up on that. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Anybody getting into anything? Anybody living anywhere where there's surfing on your horizon or anything that seems sort of outdoorsy and fun in that sort of way? Would love it. My signature move. vibey times. Yeah. I tell you what, Carrie. You know the song that changed my life. I'm Jello. Anyway, we're doing this right now. Here we go. C major, C major, B flat, F. Triads. Carrie, the only difference between triads and arpeggios is how you spell them out. So a triad is these ingredients: root, third, and fifth. But then if I go like that, spell it out, it's an arpeggio. So arpeggio more describes how it's played rather than what's being played. Like the ingredients are the same, perhaps, but when I arpeggiate it, I'm doing that. Furthermore, arpeggios can refer to all kinds of different chords. I'm coming back. Meaning triads are spelt from 3 notes: root, third, fifth. Someone might loosely describe triads as a note that just a chord that just has 3 notes. But for my money, a triad is properly a root, third, fifth. So root, third, fifth. But you could arpeggiate, you could do an arpeggio of something that is like a major 7, which has root, third, fifth, seventh, right? It has a whole different combination. Those are all arpeggios of like major 7s, minor 7s, things like that. Anyway, that's all. You guys are great. We'll see you next time. Hello.